Good evening, everybody. All right, we're still getting fairly iffy up here. Even though most people look at the fact that the Dow was up 58, we can see that there was selling going on after the open. So the selling is much more obvious when we can see the color of the candle. So we had a hanging man, and now a day where they've closed back near the low end of the range, even though it was up. That's not very That's not showing very strong bullish sentiment anymore. Same scenario on the S&P 500. Left-right combo after this big doji hanging man type signal. Then the one that's really showing that the sellers have come into play is here on the NASDAQ. So we're starting to see a little bit of a break. Even though this was not a sell signal, you kind of had a hanging man signal and selling off. The fact that you had selling and then a very powerful reversal signal, those you probably want to start watching pretty close to see what the investor sentiment is doing in specific stocks. SS, no significance other than people that have been using it for a while, it works fairly well. All right. Not trading too much in the futures area. Right now, cattle. Looks like it's going from wave 1, wave 2, bearish J-hook wave 3. So if this is wave 1, wave 3 should bring you back down to the 200. That's the only thing got going on right now. So we recommended PTLA today based upon this breakout. Let's make this a little bit smaller. You can see how there was a resistance level that correlated right with the 50 when they broke through. So if you bought it on positive trading, it has to open positive tomorrow. If it opens positive tomorrow, starts moving up, you want to look to be a all right. We also recommended CRC because of this pattern right here. So that one today could have been bought as it went positive because it was breaking out. Again, wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. RF, Regional Finance, has worked when it broke out. Just staying long on this one. Alaska Air, you can stay long. Notice it did an evening star signal. So what was our criteria for staying in? It had to open positive and trade positive today to stay in it. You still do not want to see this one close below the T line. And AEL, get ready because notice where this opened today. Gapped up from the close here on Friday to the open of Friday. If it opens positive, what do you got going? A bullish doji sandwich? No. A bullish flutter kicker? If it opens positive, you want to buy immediately. That's AEL. Oh, wait a minute. Somewhere. Place in current page. There. How is that? Got rid of the red. All right, so bullish Harami and OSTK makes this very simple. If it opens positive tomorrow, you close your short position. It has to open lower and trade lower to stay in it. When you say must open positive, do you mean open above previous day's close or price just has to go up from open? Well, yes, you want to see the price go up from open. So if I was looking at something like this, I would say it has to open positive and trade positive. If it opened here, I'd get ready to close it out. But if I saw it immediately start trading positive, which you see that turn green, you stay with it. Then if it opened here, started trading positive, if it came back down through the open, then you close it out. That means they aren't buying. Yeah, I had to spend about 45 minutes on the phone with CQG to figure out how to do that. Boot, just stay long ever since your message. This is why you want to recognize these type of setups. Opened up, traded lower. Did a doji and started back up. What did that tell us? That the selling had stopped, and the message was they were coming in with great force. It wasn't ready, time to buy here, but it was time to buy here when the profit taking of that initial day was over. XNet was holding up reasonably well today, but finally closed just below the T-line. So here's another one that has to open positive and trade positive. If it opens lower tomorrow, close it out. Tells you they are having a hard time getting back up above the T-line. Plus, it needed to stay up above the T-line because there really wasn't a reversal signal, just the possibility of a J-hook pattern. Zine was another one that was kind of a steady eddy. But the fact that they opened it up here and closed it here told you, first of all, they failed at the 200, number one. Number two, they closed below the T-line. This one should have been closed out today. More than likely, when you saw it gap up and fail at the 200 with stochastics up in the overbought area, you should have had your stop at the previous day's close, because if it came back down through there, what was it telling you? First of all, it was telling you they weren't going up through the 200. And secondly, it was telling you the sellers are starting to take control. Mara, this one has to open positive and trade positive. Closed right on the 3T line, doing a little left-right combo. But notice your stochastics telling you if they don't do something forceful, this has just gone blasé. You want to move out of it and move on to something else. CYTX. If you're buying or getting ready to buy based upon this bullish flutter kicker, it needed confirmation. Really didn't confirm, and this is why we always say look to see what it does once it gets to the T-line. Yeah, cash is a position, yep. So right now, this is a nothing since it hasn't gotten through the T-line. Even though we had a strong potential reversal signal, it was just potential, had a good probability of reversing, but it didn't. Here's another one that after the long-legged doji, remember, even though that doesn't tell you anything about the trend, it tells you what's going on in investor sentiment. It's pretty much telling you there's lots of indecision up here. And what's our simple rule of a doji? When it opened lower the next day, it's telling us that's not real good as far as bullish trend. If you held on to it on the basis that it could possibly be doing a J-hook pattern, today told you to close it out. It was time to move on to something else. Let me see. I got a bunch of them here. NS, one of the oils, still working well ever since this figure you still use, or this formation signal. Continue to use the T line as your stop. MTRX, you can see the fry pan bottom. Big fry pan bottom. You can see where it broke out. Let's make it a little bit smaller yet. See where it broke out? So what's our simple rule for holding this one? You hold it until you see a sell signal and a close below the T-line. What happened here? ECXM. Did I do that wrong? GXCM. Same scenario here. Your best friend, your 45 degree, it's getting a little bit iffy. We took off, well, I actually closed out this position because I had some options last week. Getting ready to buy it back if it does a J-hook. Still looking at it on the basis that it hasn't closed below the T-line. Flexion, same scenario, still in an uptrend as long as it doesn't close below the T-line. IMGN, here's one that if you were buying because it was breaking out, when it came back and closed back below the 50, telling you they didn't you didn't break out, close it out. Because what is the direction of this one right now? It could be this, it could be this, it could be this. We don't have any great direction. So if you see something that is executing like it should, and then at the end of the day, that execution has disappeared, close it out. Save your money for something that's going to work. Yes, well, I'm just going through the ones that we've had in the portfolio, which is exactly why I've been kind of putting in the morning and afternoon comments. If you see something that's starting to look iffy, get ready to close them out. Because there's enough good charts one way or the other that if you've got something iffy, why stay in something iffy if you've got a good strong chart someplace else? Omar, you can see kind of the little J-hook cradle type pattern. Stay long on this one. And GLYC, same scenario. Ever since your bobble breakout, you just stay long until you see a sell signal. Okay, before we go into some of the new ones, let's take a look at the biggies. Nugget, telling you right now, when it broke this support level area, tells you there's more downside in the gold stocks or in Nugget itself. Labu had a huge reversal today. Open positive, came up to the 50, and then a big bearish left-right combo. I would suspect any weakness is going to bring it back down to the 200, but the important information here is the weakness coming into this one. Apple, nothing. Wouldn't be long or short Apple, just no direction to it. If you're short, you can stay short, but there's more of a trend channel in progress than any trend, any strong trend. Amazon, this was your warning right here. If you see a gap up, as we always say, if you see a gap up in the overbought condition, start watching for sell signals. Why is that? Because of the most basic truism of candlestick analysis. Where do most people buy? They buy exuberantly at the top. I'm going to come back to this one in a minute. The other one was NVIDIA. We were short. It opened positive. Looked like it was time to cover NVIDIA because the market was going up huge. It opened positive, but by the time you even had a chance to type in a sell signal or a sell order, they were already trading it off. What was that telling you? You had to wait for a few minutes, see if they're going to start buying again. They never did. If you're shorting NVIDIA, yeah, what you got, you can short it. You just have to be a little bit more diligent. Notice that you're getting down toward the oversold area. Now, I had puts on this, and I covered puts earlier today. So when I mentioned that over in the options room, which I'm suspecting would be the same question anywhere, this is a 5-minute, we want to go to the 10-minute. This is what happens. Usually on a big move, the initial big move, the first time you see signs of buying, close out the position. Because notice what it did from this level. Really nothing after that. This was the initial move. We bought some here and closed it back out, and then did nothing with it. But this is an example that after the first big move, notice what this one did. A hammer Harami, tweezer bottom. Notice how the bottoms were exactly the same. I told you that was where the buying is coming in. So we covered our puts at that point. Now, if you look at Amazon, you can see where the buying pretty much started. And look how far away you were from the T-line. So if you were in puts on Amazon, should have been covering right about in here. Now, look what it did by the end of the day. It was right back down to the lows. So Amazon, you might be able to short still if it opens lower. There's still this gap down here. Anyways, I'm just showing these because of that initial move. If you're day trading, you see a big move like this, you start covering on the first signs of buying because that's usually telling you that's where the bulls and the bears have finally reached an equilibrium. Netflix wasn't as severe. Well, it wasn't. It came back up halfway, but still in a downtrend. Tesla, nothing here. Actually came up pretty strong by the end of the day. I wouldn't be trading Tesla unless it breaks down through this level, giving you a bearish kind of a dumpling top. And Square, this is where you observe the obvious. This is why knowing what the signals and where they should occur gives you a great advantage for coming out of positions. A hanging man in the overbought condition away from the T-line. If you didn't cover some of it here, you covered it all when it gapped down from a doji. Remember, our bearish best friend. If it broke through the T-line, which it did, target is going to be probably the 50-day moving average. So what do you do when you see it get to the 50-day moving average? Very simply, you go to your 10-minute chart, say, all right, what's happened here as it hit the 50? Get a Morningstar signal in the 10-minute chart. What's that telling you? They're probably bouncing it off the 50. If you're a short, you cover your short position. Anyways, this is just a perfect analysis of a trend that starts moving away from the T-line, does a sell signal, and then reverses. The other thing you could do, I think, maybe from there, is we don't trade the Fibonacci numbers, but you can use the Fibonacci numbers. If you see a trend and then a pullback, if you put your Fibonacci retracement on here, kind of observe the obvious. The low hit on the 50-day moving average. It closed right on the 50% retracement. So you start watching these levels. Not that they were going to reverse at those levels, but we can see what's happening at those levels based upon if we see a signal exactly on one of those levels, we know that's the level they started buying. Okay, so here's another case of, this is BRS. Somebody mentioned that early today. That had gapped up and was breaking out. That looked like a good looking chart, so we put it on the watch list. Or if you had started buying this because it did a best friend gap up, when it came back down through the open, what was that telling you? The bulls weren't there anymore. If you had been buying, you close it out because where are you now? You're right back into the trading range with an indecisive signal, exactly where you don't want to have your money at that point. When you see a breakout, what do you expect? This is Disney. You want to see it break out. Look at our bobble breakout on Disney today. This is the result you should expect. Notice our bobble breakout, J or fry pan bottom breakout right here. This is what we're expecting on that type of situation. So when we see something like tech, it's right here at this resistance level with a J-hook pattern. What's that tell us? If they open this positive, you can be buying because that tells you we've got a J-hook pattern breakout through the resistance level, that if this is our wave 1, wave 3 should be probably somewhere up here in the same magnitude as wave 1. So if this is the case, remember what Doug Campbell was on a few weeks ago, saying, all right, if they break out through this resistance level, they're going up another phase. So we were looking at the 2450s, which were selling at 33 cents. If this did come up to this level, that 33 cents would now go to approximately $1.70, giving you whatever that is, 6 times 550% profit with very little money exposed. So these different trading strategies are all based upon being able to identify what type of signal or pattern you have in the chart itself. Same scenario right here. Notice we had a little gap up on ACET. Kind of a little breakout. Where's your next likely target? Up here. Now, a lot of people, when we do option training, say, would you look at your delta or your gamma or whatever else you want to look at? No. The reason for that is your delta probably isn't all that extravagant in this type of trading range. What do we expect coming out of here, though? A strong move. So the delta is going to have absolutely nothing to do with the next move coming out of a candlestick breakout area. SORL, still not very strong, but you can see the pattern that it's setting up. So would you want to be a buyer of this one? Well, if it came back up through today's high, telling me my J-hook pattern is still working, yes, I want to be a buyer. And WETF, J-hook pattern, and what is this coming off of? Look at your big hammer signal that used the T-line for the 50 as support. You had a belt hold piercing signal off the 50. Now you got a pattern developing. This one you could be an aggressive buyer of on positive trading tomorrow. Monster.com. Look where it's sitting, right here, just above that breakout level. Once again, look at the belt hold off the 50, slow curve breakout. Do we have a? I usually just look for them visually. Do we have a formula for the slow curve? This is your highest profit. The reason I'm pointing this out is this is your highest profit trade setup. That when they come out of a slow curve, they usually blast it. If you're buying calls right here, two things are going to happen. Next day it fails, you come right back out with a very small loss. If it works, you get huge profits out of these type of trades. If they come out of a pattern, look for the next price move to be that same magnitude. Radion, same scenario. Broken out. Where's your next target? By coming up here to the trend. The buy the dip was rejected today, especially in the NASDAQ. Yes, there was too many of the biggies that were being sold off and nobody buying them. Somebody was asking about PXS. Why is this not coming up? Ah, try this. S dot EXS. That's not coming up. Just define how to do. But when you get something moving big like PXS, you go to your 10-minute chart. Another breakout that can be bought. This is Marathon Petroleum. Can be bought on positive trading. You can see the pattern, the fry pan bottom. Momo. Got all these lines on here. If you're short, you're in the oversold area, always have your stop at the previous day's high or open. Same logic when you're in the overbought area. Have your stop at the previous day's open. Because if it has enough strength to come up through there, especially that far away from the T-line, they're probably bouncing it, close it out. Take your profits at that level. Hub. Notice your kicker type signal at the breakout area. That's probably got more upside. No, that's not a day of indecisive trading. That's just a reversal. Morningstar signal would have been this day being a little hammer, a doji, a spinning top. It was just a solid candle. What's your high probability trades? Bobble breakouts. I would suspect there's more upside to this one, especially with a best friend signal, bobble breakout. Look for more upside. That's on CCJ. Same scenario on DIN. Your best friend breakout of the 200, it already hit there. Your bobble breakout, where's it likely to go? Back up into this trend channel. Jamie, I don't have any remembrance of one white soldier. To me, there's no such thing as one white soldier. That's not working. CVNA. Broke out through this level. Stay long until you see a sell signal. BGFV. That's not BGFV. Fry pan bottom. Notice what you got going here. A bullish flutter kicker potential. If it opens positive tomorrow, what's it doing? Continuing your fry pan bottom breakout with a doji, a bullish flutter kicker. You want to be buying immediately. DISCA. There's your fry pan bottom breakout on kind of a doji sandwich, left-right combo. Next target should be right here. Then I would suspect you could get all the way to the 200-day moving average. Cores is the type you want to look for. That big best friend gap up with a 45-degree, your steady eddy. Zum, fry pan bottom, steady eddy. You stay with this one. UNFI, fry pan bottom, breakout. These are what we're looking for. It's the patterns that work effectively, especially when they break out through the beginning of the pattern. Yes, I'll go right to those. Yeah, that's kind of your bearish J-hook pattern. So you get ready to short this one on weakness. That's CLGN. Now CNSL. I don't know where I came up with those other letters. G-Pro, same scenario. You can see where you are. You're in a downtrend. You're failing. Next target could be all the way down to the bottom of the trend channel. So Best Buy, you can see the fry pan bottom. You can see where the breakout was today with a doji best friend. There's a gap to fill here. So this becomes an excellent one to buy, especially if you're trading options. You can start figuring out that if this is your upside, you might do a spread buying the 25s and selling the 30s, or buying the 25s and selling the 2750s. At least you have a target and you know what the magnitude of the move could be based upon the pattern that it's coming out of. Let's see, gaps. Gaps is another one where we had kind of a fry pan bottom, gapped up to that level. When it broke out, you're going to get the excessive moves after the breakouts. And Fastenal, same scenario. This is what we're looking for, is the breakout of these patterns, because this is where the new enthusiasm gives you the big price moves. Lows. Broke out with a gap up. Okay, let's see, what else we got here? Whoops. Low or Sonic. Notice your kind of your trend kicker here breaking out. Should be some more upside in Sonic. At least probably back up to the top of the channel. SPTN breaking out. I would suspect, expect kind of a scoop pattern. Look for the first target to be the 200-day moving average. AVID. AVID, J-hook pattern. You can be buying this one on positive trading also. And VUZI, J-hook pattern. Another one you can be buying. Notice what it did when it broke out through here. Now it came right back to the 200 and started back up again. Look for the next price move to be possibly another 2.5 points up into about the 920 area. And lumber liquidators. Notice where it's supporting, right off the 200. Where's the next logical target? Back up here to the 50. Okay, some on the short side. Definitely want to have some shorts in the portfolio right now, not knowing which direction this market is heading. Oh, Jack, White Soldier, is one that people think is a signal, but it's not. It's just an up day and a downtrend. It's not a reversal signal, so won't even cannot see the signal. Carol, I think I did this for you, making the got rid of the red. Yeah, so that's the best I can do. So the ICHR, notice the bearish engulfing, kind of a little wedge formation breakout. I would suspect it's going to the 200. So that was just to show what the signals and patterns look like. We've recommended going short on SNCR because you can see the downtrend. So if you put a trend channel on here, this becomes your target. So that's a decent percentage move. We also know that the opposite of a fry pan bottom is your dumpling top, as we're seeing in SQM. They just haven't been able to get this back up above the T-line. This is where you can see those big downdrafts because investor sentiment is getting worser and worser. That's not a word. More worser, more worser. So you see that big breakdown. And PI, another dumpling top, rolling over. I wouldn't be afraid to be shorting this one on weakness tomorrow, anticipating a wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. That's right, Les Gooder. Okay, did I just do TDD? Another one. Look where it closed today. Right about the same close here. If this opens weaker, you've got a strong bearish J-hook pattern in progress. So the reason I'm showing these is right now it looks like the market doesn't know which way it wants to go as far as an overall market. Here's HIIQ slowly rolling over, closed right on the 50. If it opens lower, especially where they open lower, that could have a big move back down into this area. Team, fill the gap. Could head down here, which means if you got that close to the 200, they'd probably head for the 200. And XRF, for some reason that's not coming up. F.XRF. And ZGNX, a big left-right combo, kind of breaking this support. Tells you they could be heading all the way back down into this area. That's one you want to watch for a short. MARK, and you start seeing a lot of indecision. Remember, a doji means indecision. Down day, up day, down day, up day, doji, down day. That means a lot of indecision up here. Get ready to short that one if it starts opening lower tomorrow. SPWR broke this little support level. Possibly more downside, not one of your greatest ones. It's already moved. Bearish J hook now on a kind of a bearish doji sandwich going into wave 3 to the downside. ILMN, bearish doji sandwich. If it comes down to this level, breaks this level, a lot of downside. Micron, bearish doji sandwich that didn't support at the 50. Again, this is where you might throw your Fibonacci numbers on to see what levels it should be heading back to. And BITA was one that we illustrated here. When you saw the possible buy signals, you covered your short position. But the next day, when they came back down through the low, you re-shorted it because that told you they weren't supporting here. So there's lots of good signals and patterns out there right now. Just you want to start having as many longs as shorts at this point. So with that, I guess I pretty well got them all. Is there any general questions on candlesticks? At the end of these sessions for us, are there newer to, could you sum up maybe a few of the best trades you see tonight? Okay, Jason, I can do that. When you are short, do you buy puts or sell calls? Anita, that's up to each person. There'll be times where a call doesn't make, or buying a put doesn't make sense because it's too expensive. Don, yes, I see that dismal number, and it looks like one of our Steelers players had a bad neck injury. Anita, that is something that you go more into when we do our option training. Sometimes it's better to sell a call because you got the premium that's going to make more money for you than if you buy the put. The magnitude of move of that stock may not be enough to make it as profitable as selling a call. Okay. Oh. Yeah, and I would, let me go backwards. TDD, I would be ready to short on weakness tomorrow. PI, I'd be ready to short on weakness tomorrow. AVID might go long on this one. Would be more apt to go long once it broke out through here. And BGFV, definitely be a buyer of this one on positive trading tomorrow. Best Buy, I'm sorry, Bed Bath & Beyond. Probably be looking at this for an option trade tomorrow. Hub, trend kicker or kicker signal, breaking out. That's probably going to be an option suggestion tomorrow. And WETF. That one's, if it opens positive, what you want to buy it. I think that's the ones I had marked. Oh, see what ACET looks like. This one also. has a little wobble breakout with a kicker signal. Looking for the 200. Okay, I guess with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. We'll keep it to 2 for everybody, and in 3.1 seconds, do the next double line. Chipotle was acting pretty strong, but failed to get up through this level. So very simple. If this opens lower, you want to be out of it because that tells you this resistance area after the shooting star signal is still acting as resistance with the stochastics up here in the overbought condition. Brazil, nothing. You're just a waffly. You're stuck in between these moving averages. I wouldn't be long or short Brazil. CYRX, maybe that was the one I was trying to pull up. Little Morningstar signal. You can buy this on positive trading, but you just have to be careful of what happens at the 50. This one was a good looking chart. Another J-hook pattern breakout. I'd buy this one on positive trading, anticipating at least moving up to the 185 area. Williams Brothers, I wouldn't short it yet. First of all, you got to get down through the 50 and the T-line. Probably wouldn't be one of my best spots to go short. iArt, wouldn't short this one yet, not until it breaks down through the bottom of this channel, but it's a good place to be out of any long position. And CGNX, you can go short on this one if it opens lower. OLED, same scenario. If it opens lower, it's heading for the 50. PayPal, if it opens lower tomorrow, you can be shorting it. Don't let it close back up above the 50. ERII, getting a little bit toppy. If you're long, you can stay long, but you might be in another sideways like this. If it traded sideways tomorrow, I'd close it out. You can always buy it if it comes back up through the highs. This one's getting a little bit toppy. I would suspect it's coming back down to test the 200 to see if it's going to act as support now that the resistance has been broken. Kroger, coming out of this fry pan bottom, you stay long until you see a sell signal. And NTNX, ooh, getting toppy up here. Use the T-line as your stop. Advanced Auto, stay long. If it breaks out, which is right here on the breakout level, look for it to go to the 200. VNTV, yeah, big evening star signal. Wouldn't be the best short because of the lack of magnitude of movement, but if it opened weaker, I'd watch to see if it gets and what it does once it gets back to the 50. This one I'd be more apt to short because of the bearish J hook if it broke down through this level. So if it came down through, let's say, 50, I'd start shorting it. Let's see, CYTK closed out today. Yes. If you were in it, that was the right thing to do. Nothing there to tell you there's any bullish sentiment. Cassie, you can stay long, but if it opens lower, then it's having a hard time getting through this level. Close it out. It needs to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. Goog, stay short. VRX, stay long. Use today's low as your stop. EC, kind of breaking this downward trend channel. If you like it, you can be buying it. I'd be a buyer of it above this level, which means I'd want to see it come back up through today's high. If you're long, you just stay long. FTR, kind of a scoop, fry pan bottom. Ooh, boy. If you're another one, I wouldn't buy until it breaks out through the 50. But if you're long, you stay long and you see what it does at the 50. Cure, we were waiting to see if it was going to open positive today to break out. It didn't. So we're not in it. I wouldn't be long or short right now until it breaks this trend channel. Diebold, get ready to go short. Failed right here at the 50. Now you have a bearish left-right combo. I'd be ready to short this one on weakness. Vidu, if you're short, you stay short. Or if you're going to go short, I'd want to see it come down through the lows. Boeing, stay long. Fry pan bottom. If this opens lower, it means it's probably coming back to test the T-line. But if you want to hold it longer term, you stay with it as long as it stays above the T-line. Baba, you can be ready to short this one. This one looks like it's might have just failed. Let's see if I can this. Yeah, failed that level. Watch to see if they can take it all the way down to the 200. Tomorrow we did. That has to open positive tomorrow to keep any semblance of a J-hook pattern in progress. Microsoft sold off today. Wouldn't be, definitely you should be out of your long position. I don't know whether I'd be going short until it breaks the 50. Lithium Motors, you can be buying this one on positive trading also, coming out of this little fry pan bottom, bigger fry pan bottom. FMSA, FMSA. You stay long. Obviously, you've got a wedge going, so it needs to break out to the upside. If you're long, you just stay long. In this, I wouldn't. No, in this one, I wouldn't be long or short. No direction whatsoever. TNA, big bearish engulfing after a big hanging man signal. Get ready to start shorting if this opens lower tomorrow. AVEO, slow curve. I wouldn't be in this one. You can't be short because it's below $5, so you definitely don't want to be in it. ALXN, you can be buying this one on positive trading. Just use the T-line as your stop. And ANET should be coming back at least to test the you had your bearish engulfing. Notice what was happening here. Flat indecision, then your bearish engulfing that closed below the T-line. That's where you should have been out of the position. That's where you could have been going short on your little kind of trend kicker to the That wasn't a trend kicker. That was just selling. Facebook. Stay short. Ultra. Stay long. Don't let it close back below the 200. Kroger, did we do Kroger? Just stay long. CVRR, nothing. You got a wedge. You got a doji at the end of the wedge, so now you've got the opportunity to see if they're going to break it out one way or the other. AMGN, this one has to open positive. If it opens lower, your shooting star doji telling you that they aren't holding up at the 50. This one's in trouble because of kind of the tweezer top at the same level it topped out before. If you're long, it has to open positive. If it opens lower, it's not going anywhere. Okay, CGNX split. All right, thank you. Bill Barrett. This one, nothing. It started out strong today, but gave up. I wouldn't be in it right now, long or short. BMRN. I would have closed this one out today with the evening star type signal closing below the T line. You should be out of this one. And FAS. That's not good either with it closing toward the lower end of the range. This one has to open positive. If it opens lower, it's probably coming back to test the T line. Avis, same scenario. Well, I can't. That's just great being colorblind. If it opens lower, it's coming back down to test the 50 to see if it's going to act as support. Texas Instruments. If you're short, stay short. If you're thinking of going short, I'd short it if it comes down through the 50. EXTR, nothing. Wouldn't be long or short. There's no direction to this one. Schnitzer. You can stay long on this one. It's just not going to be a very profitable trade. Okay. All right. Definitely want to watch to see how this market opens tomorrow. If we see weakness in the pre-market futures, they're coming back to test the T-line, which kind of gives you the assumption that we're going to be backing off for a few days. All right, everybody. We're going to try to have some special trainings starting next Tuesday or Wednesday on entry and exit strategies. All right, everybody have a good evening. We will see you then. No, we'll see you in the morning.